Soft tear drips across my notebook corner. I watch ink spread like muted grief. Every word tastes like unfinished conversations, and the smoke curls through the lonely room. Hollow page echoes the absence of paper. I strum chords that don't reach the ceiling. The guitar sits quiet after midnight rehearsals, and I remember faces I will never see. Low song hums beneath flickering neon light. As vibrations mix with the distant train, the melody feels like yesterday's rain, and the notes leave behind cold shadows. Tired chord bends under fingers that ache. Each press carries weight heavier than lead. Strings vibrate like stories left untold, and the room listens in exhausted silence. Tide coaster hold rings of spilled whiskey. I sip slowly while the street empties. The glass sweats and the night listens. Every taste reminds me of roads not taken. Rain hammers lightly against the dining window. I hum along to a song that won't end. The chords stretch into alleys and corners, and my chest tightens in recognition. Wind slips under the cracked door frame. Paper flutters like ghosted conversations. Every sound seems sharper than expected, and I lean into shadows I understand. Slowly from the worn stool. The night has nothing left to give me, yet leaving feels like winning something small. And I take it with careful hands. night again. Nobody touches it, nobody even notices. I stand there longer than necessary again, because going inside feels impossible now. Quiet back street stretches farther than expected tonight. Every step sounds louder than it should. Walking slowly does not change anything. Still the feet refuse to stop. Broken window frame holds the cold air inside quietly. Glass remembers better days than people do. I look through it without moving once. Some memories stay safer from distance. Weak alley wall carries more scars than a man could hide. Rain left marks that never disappeared completely. Nothing tries to look perfect anymore, and that honesty feels strangely calm. One that door stays closed even without a lock. Some doors stop opening long before breaking. I touch it once and step back quietly, because pride still refuses to fall. Life never promised anything fair anyway. Still it hurts when everything disappears suddenly. Money, work, people, even simple hope, all of them leave faster than expected. Cold wind moves paper along the street slowly. Nothing moves except time, shadows now. Standing still feels heavier than walking, so I keep going without direction. The night keeps moving even without permission. I walk farther than I planned tonight. Not looking back feels easier now, because nothing behind wants me anyway. Night bench leans again, dark street, silently. Footsteps echo, but no one answers back. The wind carries a whisper of a forgotten night. Some places hold memories that never leave. Last corner had shadow beneath flickering neon sign. A puddle mirrors empty faces walking past. Stories rest in broken bottles and cigarette ashes. Every glance feels like another door closing. Final corner glows faintly under the city's indifferent gaze. Paper scraps swirl around like unclaimed dreams. Hands reach for warmth that isn't offered. The cold tells truths that no one repeats. Night bench light hung above cracks in the pavement, illuminating moments that are already slipping away. Figures move silently, weighed down by unseen burden. Some nights end without any explanation at all. Midnight platform stretches beyond the hum of distant trains. Empty benches await passengers who will never come. The city exhales smoke and street lights into nothing. Time drifts slower when no one is watching. Coin disappear from pockets faster than promises. Even laughter feels borrowed and quickly forgot. Hands clutch cups heavier than they should. Life counts quietly in the spaces left behind. A dog barks somewhere between the alleys and stairs. The sky shifts without noticing anyone below. Shadows stretch like tight arms across the walls. Morning approaches even when no one greets it. The corner remains, though bodies have gone long ago. Night bench, last corner, final corner, all keep their silence. Breathing continues where stories fade without acknowledgement. Some streets remember nothing, yet still hold you. Faded motel hallway smells like smoke and tired years tonight. Every step echoes louder than expected again. I walk slower than yesterday once more. because nothing waits at the end. Weak room light shines through a half-open door quietly. The light looks tired but still alive. I stand there without knocking at all. Some room should stay silent forever. Faded night window shows a street without movement tonight. No cars, no voices, nothing human outside. I'll watch it longer than necessary again, because outside feels colder than inside. Dim late hallway stretches farther than it should tonight. The ceiling feels lower than before somehow. Walking through it feels strangely heavy, like the building remembers everything. Lonely midnight door waits at the very end silently. Nobody stands behind it anymore tonight. I touched the handle once without opening, because some endings need no proof. Life changes slowly until suddenly everything collapses. One day there is work and hope. Next day only silence remains everywhere, and nobody explains the difference. The air becomes colder before the morning arrives. The floor feels harder under tired feet. Still I keep walking forward again, because stopping feels like losing everything. The hallway ends, but the night continues. I walk outside without saying anything. Nothing feels better, but nothing feels worse. Only silence stays where I was. tired final window, drips rain across cracked glass. I watch water gather in slow rivulets. The cold reaches deeper than my coat. No one cares if I shiver. Dim last bench light flickers above warm floorboards. Count the hours until morning. Each second stretches longer than the last, and I can't remember why I came. Lonely final hallway smells of dust and smoke. Footsteps echo like memories I never owned. Walls lean in as if listening, and I whisper promises that won't be kept. Soft night and drifts over empty chairs. The air tastes faintly of whiskey and rain. I trace the scratches left by strangers and wonder if anyone ever noticed me. Faded last platform waits beneath silent tracks. The trains leave without warning or pause. I press my hands into the cold metal. Let the wind carry my regrets. I walk past signs that no longer mean. Shadows stretch across cracked concrete. The city hums with indifferent energy, and I learn to move quietly among it. The night bends under low street lamps. I breathe slow, counting every heartbeat. Hunger and tired bones remind me of life, and yet that I press on without complaint. Finally I stop beneath a muted lamp. No applause, no witness, no audience. Only the faint wind in my footsteps, and I smile quietly, having survived. Empty gas station waits like some forgotten night. I stand there longer than necessary again. Going back never feels like a real option. Forward feels colder, but still possible. Soft ceiling light hums above the cracked counter slowly. I look around without touching anything. Some places feel tired, just like people. One done chair stand beside a broken table quietly. Sitting down feels heavier than expected tonight. Every movement takes longer than yesterday. Like time refuses to move forward. Dim roadside bar stretches beyond the empty lights quietly. No cars pass, no voices anywhere. Waiting suddenly becomes completely pointless. Still I do not leave immediately. Slow night wind moves across the open road gently. The cold reaches deeper than the cold. Closing eyes for a moment helps slightly, but memory never really disappears. Life never promised anything fair anyway. Money disappears faster than hope sometimes. Still breathing feels like a small victory. Even when nobody notices anything. The sky slowly becomes lighter without permission. Morning arrives whether wanted or not. Standing up feels harder than yesterday again. But it still happens eventually. Walking away feels better than staying still. No promises, no plans, no illusions tonight. Just another road and tired footsteps. And somehow that feels enough. Silent jukebox stands like something forgotten tonight. Nobody touches the buttons anymore. He remembers when people danced beside it. Now even music refuses to stay. Weak neon trembles above the bar counter slowly. The light makes everything look tired again. He drinks slower than he did before, because time feels heavier after midnight. One hallway leads toward the back door quietly. The walls remember more stories than him. He walks through it without making noise, like someone who expects nothing anymore. Empty platform waits somewhere beyond the street. He can almost hear the train leaving again. Some men chase after what they lost. He stopped chasing a long time ago. Quiet window light falls across his hand slowly. They look older than yesterday already. He turns them once and sighs quietly. Life leaves mark without asking permission. The bartender stops asking him questions now. Even silence feels more honest tonight. Nobody pretend things will improve suddenly. Their truth strangely feels peaceful. He finishes the drink without celebration again. The glass looks emptier than he expected. Some nights feel longer than entire years, especially when nobody says your name. Morning will erase the neon completely, but the feeling will stay exactly the same. He walks out without looking back again, still standing even after everything failed. Rusted lantern flickers against damp brick walls. The alley smells of wet asphalt and whiskey. I walk slowly past forgotten doorways tonight. Everything around whispers stories I cannot touch. Smoky alley hides puddles of yesterday's rain. Each step echoes like an old memory. A cat darts through shadows without a sound, and I wonder if anyone will remember me. Midnight chord hums faintly from an open window. The piano plays a song no one asked for. I lean against a wall and listen, and my shoulders tighten under invisible weight. Tired trumpet moans like a man lost forever. The notes trail in the corners nobody cares about. I watch a neon ember reflect on puddles slowly, and the night takes everything I thought I owned. I continue walking as the city exhales quietly. Smoke and light swirl in faint circles. Every breath feels colder than the last, and I press forward knowing warmth will not return. The alley opens to streets lined with silence. My footsteps join the rhythm of unseen trains. Nothing changes, yet the air hums insistently, and I feel the night bending around my spine. Neon ember flickers one last time above a bar. The glow touches nothing and everyone alike. I press my coat tighter against the cold and imagine a place that does not exist. But finally the alley ends where nothing waits. I take one last glance at shadows behind. The city yawns as if tired of watching, and I vanish into the indifferent morning.
Empty roadside bench waits longer than any person tonight. I sit down slowly without looking around. Some nights feel heavier than entire years, especially when nobody remembers your name. Dusty storefront show things nobody buys anymore now. Hope disappears exactly the same way sometimes. I watch the glass instead of thinking, 'cause memory hurts more than cold. Quietly corner holds more silence my church tonight. Wind moves paper along the sidewalk slowly. Nothing moves except tired shadows again. Still the night refuses to end. Soft final light hangs above the empty road quietly. The glow feels weaker than yesterday already. I'll stay there longer than necessary again, because going home feels impossible. Faded midnight lamp trembles like something about to quit. It looks exactly like a tired light. I laugh softly without making a sound, because the truth feels too simple. Life becomes harder without any warning at all. Money disappears faster than hope sometimes. Still breathing feels like a small victory, even when nobody notices anything. The sky slowly becomes lighter without permission. Morning arrives whether wanted or not. I stand up slower than yesterday again, because leaving feels heavier than sitting. The bench stays, but I keep walking. Nothing waits but the road continues. Some nights break people completely. Tonight only silence won instead. Broken pedal hum beneath the old upright piano. I press it slowly with a hesitant finger. The soft whiskey smells like hope turned bitter, and the room feels smaller than it should. Faded piano leans against walls full of dust. Keys chip from hands that do not return. Every note echoes like a missing conversation, and I sit quietly, pretending time stopped for me. Lonely shadow stretches across the warm floorboard. How watch it bend around the dim lamplight. The cold slips under my coat and shirt, and I think about the warmth I once trusted. Cracked bench groans under the weight of silence. I sit down and stare at empty glasses. The night moves slowly like a tired train, and I do nothing into my mood. And I wonder if survival is enough tonight. Notes flow from broken pedals and faded keys. Each one strikes harder than expected on skin. I trace melodies I don't remember learning, and the shadows lean closer to here. Outside, rain drums against window panes slowly. I imagine trains moving somewhere far away. The city hums under street lamps and neon, and I listen, letting the night guide me. Finally the piano rests under quiet light. The whiskey gone, but warmth remains faintly. I rise slowly from the crack bench, and the shadow follows silently as I leave.
Lonely lake bar stays open longer than it should tonight. Nobody talks, nobody laughs, nobody even moves. I sit there slower than yesterday again, because leaving feels worse than staying here. Time night kinda holds more stories than people remember. Hands touched it with hope years ago. Now only silence rests on the wood, and silence never lies to anyone. Soft closing time arrives without warning once again tonight. The bartender does not even look up. Some nights end without saying anything, just like people do sometimes. Dusty bar floor remembers shoes that never returned again. Footsteps disappear faster than promises usually do. I watch the floor instead of thinking, because memory hurts more than regret. Reflects a stranger looking back slowly. That face looks older than expected tonight. I try not to recognize it again, but time never forgets anyone. Harder without any clear reason sometimes. Jobs disappear, people disappear, money disappears too. Still breathing feels like a small victory, even when nobody notices it. The chair feels colder the longer I stay. The room
becomes quieter with every minute. Some nights refuse to forgive anything, no matter how long you wait. I leave without looking at the door again. Nothing inside belongs to me anymore. The street feels colder but more honest, and somehow that feels better tonight. Lonely night finish waves, where two streets converge. I cross with no thought of safety. Each step echoes off brick walls, and the night swallows everything behind me. Soft last step lands on rain, slick asphalt. I count the cracks under streetlights. The city has no memory for me, and that relief feels strangely comforting. One final whole light spills pale amber across stairs. I pass beneath with bent shoulders. Everything around me hums of neglect, and yet I keep moving without pause. Marks time I cannot reclaim. The echoes bounce between buildings like spirits. I follow them in the streets without names, because wandering feels safer than standing still. Dusty midnight step kicks old debris aside. I remember faces I will never see again. The cold night gnaws at my bones, but my resolve refuses to break completely. Streetlights flicker like eyes that have given up. I imagine the voices that left long ago. The wind carries them into alleys and cracks, and I learn to listen without answering. A siren wails far down the avenue. It does not stop for anyone, including me. The city moves without caring for my presence, and that freedom tastes bitter and sharp. I vanish into the early hints of dawn. No one notices, no one is waiting, yet somehow walking walking alone feels like victory, even if the night never truly ends.
Empty midnight house, smell like dust and old nights again. Every step echoes louder than it should tonight. I walk slower than yesterday once more, because nothing waits at the end. Tight midnight hallway stretches farther than expected tonight. The ceiling feels lower than before somehow. Walking through it feels strangely heavy, like the building remembers everything. One midnight window shows a street without movement tonight. No cars, no voices, nothing human outside. I watch it longer than necessary again, because outside feels colder than inside. Weeknight door light trembles above, the broken handle quietly. The glow looks tired but still alive somehow. I stand there without touching anything. Some doors should stay closed forever. Quiet final doorways at the very end, silently tonight. Nobody stands behind it anymore now. I touched the handle once without opening, because some endings need no proof. Life changes slowly until suddenly everything collapses. One day there is work and hope, next day only silence remains everywhere. Nobody explains the difference. The air becomes colder before the morn arrives. The floor feels harder under tired feet. Still I keep walking forward again, because stopping feels worse than leaving. The hallway ends, but the night continues. I walk outside without saying anything. Nothing feels better, but nothing feels worse. Only silence stays where I
misunderstood. Empty final doorway creaks as the wind passes. I step through without looking back. The air smells of old pain and regret, and memories refuse to stay silent. Faded final hope stretches past the rusted railing. Footsteps echo and emptiness like a hollow drum. I follow a corridor I walked 1,000 times and feel the city weighing on my shoulders. Into mist and shadow, and the platform keeps secrets better than anyone. Dim midnight tending hums with quiet electricity. I lean against a wall, listen to nothing. Every breath counts more than any applause, and every heartbeat reminds me I exist. Lonely night ending spills across broken streets. The cold hits every exposed shuttered windows, knowing that survival is small and private. The wind carries whispers of men long gone. Their voices mix with tires and distant horns. I remember the times when hope felt real, and yet I keep walking despite it all. Some nights feel like endless corridors. The shadows cling to every corner. In the silence of streets, the strength in knowing no one will help. I step into dawn as a city awaken. The streets are empty, but my heart is full. I survived another night among ghosts and lights. That alone is enough for today. quiet midnight band. Feels cold in the whole city tonight. I sit down slowly without looking around again. Some nights stretch longer than they should, especially when nothing waits anywhere. Faded closing lamp trembles above the empty street quietly. The light looks tired, but still alive somehow. I watch it longer than necessary tonight, because memory hurts more than silence. Lonely closing time arrives without warning once again tonight. The bartender already stopped looking at anyone. Some nights in without saying anything, just like people sometimes disappear quietly. Dusty late oil smell like old smoking tired years tonight. Every step sounds louder than expected again. I walk slower than yesterday once more, because nothing waits at the end. Soft glass door closes behind me without any emotion. The sound feels heavier than all night. I stop for a second without turning around. Some endings never need an explanation. Life becomes harder without asking permission. Sometimes money disappears faster than hope usually does. Still breathing feels like a small victory, even when nobody sees anything. The air becomes colder before the morning arrives. The street stays silent without a reason. Standing still suddenly feels impossible again, so I keep walking without direction. Morning will come, whether I want it or not. Nothing will change and I already know. Still I refuse to disappear quietly, even if nobody remembers my name. Dim glass reflects street lights, bending across puddles. I clutch the guitar like a lifeline tonight. The rain fills cracks where light used to enter, and everything feels hollow but familiar. Soft reflection glimmers on polished wooden tables. I sip whiskey while shadows creep slowly. The bartender hums a tune without words, and the city carries secrets I cannot touch. Hollow pain shakes under winter wind. I press my hands against the cold surface. The street beyond moves in waves of mist, and I wonder why I still linger here.
slow latch clicks as the door opens softly. I step inside, boots echoing on creaking boards. The room smells faintly of smoke and sweat, and I feel gratitude for the quiet. Empty pig lays on the counter untouched. I run my fingers over strings and thought. Each note hums like a memory's forgotten, and the night listens without interruption. The heater rumbles softly, reluctant to work. I play chords with deliberate slowness. Every vibration travels down wooden bones, and the walls keep their secrets well. Silent avenues, I feel the city breathing through broken streets. Every pedal pushing the music lingers, and I smile knowing the night will forgive. Finally I close the door and sit alone. The guitar rests but echoes still remain. Life waits outside in cold, indifferent streets. For a moment I have survived. Lonely last slide spills across the cracked pavement slowly. Shadows move when no footsteps should appear. A distant train hums beneath frozen tracks. The city holds its breath, watching quietly. Faded final bags creeps under heavy hand. I sit and count coins I don't have. Every moment feels like borrowed time. The neon hum whisper stories of others. Soft midnight door swings open to empty corridor. Wind crossed through cracks in the wall. Paper flutters like ghosts on the floor. Memories press heavier than a cold air. Empty final hall stretches past flickering lamps.
I walk alone without asking direction. Some nights silence is the loudest voice. Each shadow reminds me of what's gone. Quiet closing bench waits under distant skyline. The city forgets faces faster than streets. I trace the cracks with tired fingers, trying to make peace with passing hours. Footsteps echo, but no one responds. The wind carries stories of forgotten men. I breathe slowly, letting the cold seep in, and accept that no one is coming back. A train whistle slices the quiet sky. I follow its echo down wet streets. The night presses down like lead, but still I keep moving forward. Final footsteps fade across empty stone. The city doesn't notice, it never will. I keep walking toward the dim horizon, knowing some nights are meant for this. Slow whistle echoes across streets slick with rain. The leather jacket smells faintly of smoke and sweat. I pass empty storefronts without hesitation tonight, and the city seems asleep under dim lights. Faint cigarette burn lazily in my fingers. Ash drifts into puddles on uneven pavement. I inhale and let memories swirl like smoke, and the night swallows them quietly without coming. Cracked sidewalk, its clatter echoes in alleys long abandoned. I follow its path without touching or caring, and think about all the things lost to dark. Dim bar stool waits by a closed tavern door. The service warm from hands that never return.
sit for a moment, letting the world drift, and feel time fold beneath indifferent neon. Leather creaks as I stretch along the alley. The slow whistle continues somewhere far away. I think about nights spent chasing shadows, and the quiet reminds me survival tastes bitter. The air smells like rain, tobacco and asphalt. I watch reflections twist in puddles at my feet. Every step presses memories into cold stone, and I realize night carries them all away. I hear distant trains humming faintly down rails. The whistle joins the rhythm of my wandering. Each breath counts more than the last, and I carry nothing but patience and grit. Street ends at an empty bridge. The neon reflections scatter across slow water. I light the cigarette one final time and let smoke rise unclaimed by anyone. Slow scratch drifts across the floorboards quietly. I kneel to listen to memories and dust. Every mark carries the weight of evenings past, and the wind outside whispers cold approval. Cracked floor shifts beneath heavy shoes. The house sighs like it has aged too fast. I pace, tracing paths no one remembers, and the city hums faintly beneath my feet. Dim step falls on the faded rug. This echo lingers where nobody resides. Count time by shadows stretching slowly, and the night smells like metal and smoke. Soft brush sweeps dust from forgotten shelves. I watch particles float in weak lamplight. Each movement seems slower than the last, and I realize solitude teaches patience clearly. Empty windows shows only streetlights beyond. The sky leaks faint orange from distant neon. I think about faces I'll never know, and the silence answers with honesty. Rain taps lightly on the cracked glass. I stay inside counting my own breath. The night feels longer than any promise, and my shadow is the only companion. The heater hums faintly, but it cannot warm. I trace the outlines of memories burned in the wood. Each creak, each groan tells me quietly that surviving another night is enough. Finally I sit on the edge of the bed. The city murmurs faintly beneath my window, and I let the darkness stay with me, knowing morning will demand its own price. And so final holy light flickers across cracked tiles. Footsteps echo where no one walks tonight. The wind rattles the old fire escape, and the air smells like forgotten rain. Dim last night door hang off his rusty hinge. I push it slowly without making a sound. Every creak tells stories of someone long, long gone, and the hallway swallows my quiet movements. Waits under pale lamplight. I rest briefly while shadows gather silently. The night stretches longer than my patience, and I count moments like they're coins. One night fit as light hovers over the empty street. Its glow is weaker than distant stars. I trace scratches with fingertips steps remember, and the city exhales in restless sighs. Empty midnight finish waits at the far end. No voices, no cars, only scattered papers. I walk past doors that never open, and the night keeps me company slowly. The alley smells of rain and whiskey stains. Memories stick to bricks like faded paint. I move forward knowing no one follows, yet the Rhythm of the night feels alive. Streetlights hum softly through misty glass day. The echoes of trains vibrate through pavements. Each step feels heavier than the last, but I press on through the dark. Finally I step beyond the alleys and the city glows but does not notice me. I carry the quiet in my chest, and it feels like survival enough tonight. Empty closing platform stretches farther than expected tonight. No footstep, no voices, nothing human anywhere. I stand there longer than necessary again, because leaving feels worse than staying. Lonely final platform looks colder than the winter air. The rails shine weakly under the sky. Some trains stop for the right people. Some trains never stop at all. Dim last light trembles above the broken sign quietly. Glow looks tired, but still alive somehow. I watch it longer than I should tonight, because thinking hurts more than waiting. Quiet last window reflects a stranger looking back slowly. Face looks older than expected tonight. I try not to recognize it again, but time never forgets anyone. Tired midnight counter waits somewhere inside the station. Hands touched it with hope years ago. Now only silence stays on the wood, and silence never lies to anyone. Life slowly becomes heavier without warning sometimes. Friends disappear, work disappears, hope disappears too. Still breathing feels strangely important tonight, even without a reason left. Cold wind moves paper across the empty tracks slowly. Nothing moves except tired shadows now. Standing still suddenly feels too heavy, so I walk without direction again. The platform stays, but I keep walking. Nothing waits, but the road continues anyway. Some nights break people completely. Tonight, only silence won the fight.
echoes across the abandoned street. Its beat matches footsteps I do not take. The air smells faintly of a rusting rain, and I pause, letting night fold around me. Weary finger taps keys that barely respond. I hum along to a rhythm only I hear. The neon glows against my tired eyes, and the city moves indifferent as always. Cold match sparks against wet hands slowly. I light a cigarette and watch it burn. Smoke drifts lazily toward unseen rooftop, and the silence answers with its own patience. Quiet bell rings somewhere in an empty building. The sound stretches further than expected tonight. I walk toward it, but do not enter, because some doors are meant to stay closed. Drifting smoke curls above a sidewalk edges. It carries a scent of distant memories. I inhale and feel time push against me, and the night teaches survival one step at a time. Trains hum faintly under cracked bridges far away. The rhythm matches the drum beat I imagine. Footsteps echo between alleys and fading signs, and everything moves slowly, but nothing stops. Rain taps lightly on the tin roof above. I trace circles and puddles with careful steps. The bell echoes again, almost unnoticeable, and I realize quiet is sometimes the loudest thing. Finally smoke rises into the indifferent sky. The drum fades beneath distant city hums. I put the match out with slow hands and continue walking toward a night that never ends. Soft train light moves slowly across the dark platform. It looked like someone leaving without emotion. He stands there longer than anyone else tonight, 'cause nobody expects him anyway. Broken sign light hangs above the empty street quietly. It flickers like it wants to disappear. He watches it instead of thinking again. Some nights thinking hurts too much. Lonely signboards swing under the cold wind slowly. The sound feels heavier than it should. He remembers reading it years ago happily, before the city turned hard and silent. Night shift continues behind the closed factory doors. Men work while he just stands outside. He once believed he would never fall this low. Life changed faster than he imagined. Quiet night corner hides him from the passing cars. Nobody notices a man standing still. He prefers it that way, honestly. Attention hurts more than loneliness sometimes. About leaving this city completely tonight, but every road looks exactly the same. Some men escape when everything collapses. He just stays and keeps breathing slowly. The train light disappears beyond the dark bridge slowly. Silence grows heavier with every minute. He closes his eyes and exhales quietly, trying not to feel completely forgotten. Morning will not change anything again tomorrow. Still he refuses to break completely tonight. Life pushed him down more than enough, but it never managed to destroy him. Gin swirl spin slowly in the glass. The mirror behind reflects lonely faces. A faint laugh drifts from the piano. The bar smells of old tobacco. Neat pour slide down his parched throat. He watches shadows ripple across the wall. Wood ring resonates under swinging stools. A door opens and closes far away. Seat holds his weary body still. Footsteps echo softly across polished floorboards. The ceiling fan hums a tired tune. Brass knob glints under dim yellow light. Gin swirl mirrors the neon signs outside. He breathes slowly, counting every heartbeat. The bartender polishes glasses without looking. No one asks why he remains here. Neat pour leaves a warm trail inside. The city beyond the window sleeps quietly. Wood ring sings beneath heavy boots. The night moves like slow, tired music. Brass knob feels cold under his fingers. He spins it absent-mindedly, thinking of home. The corner seat creaks with his weight. A clock ticks towards some forgotten hour. Gin swirl carries memories he can't shake. The mirror shows a face he always knew. The bar smells like yesterday and sorrow. The piano hums faintly in the distance. Neat pour is gone, leaving only warmth. He stands slowly, brushing off the sea. Brass knob clicks softly as the door closes. The night swallows him into empty streets. quiet signal flickers above the empty street tonight. Nobody notices the light turning slowly. He stares there longer than anyone else would, because leaving means accepting everything ended. Tired bartender wipes the counter without emotion. He has seen this story too many times already. A man staying long after everyone leaves, trying not to remember who left first. Faded doorway weighs like something unfinished again. Pain peels slowly under the weak light. He remembers laughing in that same place once, before the city turned colder than promises. Warm cigarette burned shorter between his fingers quietly. Smoke rises like something trying to escape him. He watches it instead of thinking again, because memory hurts more than loneliness tonight. Lonely sidewalk stretches farther than it should tonight. Every step sounds louder than necessary again. He walks slowly without looking back once. Some men pretend not to feel anything. He thinks about the job that disappeared suddenly, about the woman who stopped answering completely. Nothing dramatic happened, just silence growing that hurts more than shouting ever did. The streetlight trembles once before midnight ends. Wind moves old paper across the pavement slowly. He stops walking just for a moment, trying to remember how hope once felt. Morning will come whether he wants it or not. Still he refuses to collapse completely tonight. Life pushed him down many times already, but it never managed to keep him there. Empty railway bench feels colder than my hands tonight. I sit down slowly without looking anywhere. Some nights become heavier without warning, especially when nobody waits anymore. Soft platform metro follows every step behind me quietly. The sound refuses to disappear quickly. Walking slower does not change anything. Still I keep moving toward the dark. Faded trains hit lives somewhere inside memory quietly. I remember sleeping there years ago. Back when losing still felt temporary. Now it stays longer than it should. Quiet night platform stretches farther than expected tonight. Wind moves paper along the rails slowly. Watching that feels easier than thinking, because memory hurts more than cold. Slow river wind reaches a station from somewhere far away. The cold touches deeper than the coat. I pull the collar high without thinking, like that could protect anything. The train passes without slowing down tonight again. Red lights disappear before breathing finishes. Standing still suddenly feels completely natural. Nothing needs to be explained anymore. Some nights do not need shouting or anger. Silence says everything much clearer instead. Losing stops hurting after enough time. Only tired cons remains behind. I leave the platform before the lights fade completely. Not angry, not broken, only tired tonight. Sometimes losing everything becomes strangely quiet, like a storm already finished somewhere else.
Velvet train rolls past neon-lit stations. Slow whiskey warms his tired palms. Shadow cigarette smokes in the corner. One saddle waits for a long journey. Soft haze drifts across empty seas. Velvet train hums under steel rails. Slow whiskey slide down with bitter warmth. Shadow cigarette curls against faded curtains. One saddle creaks under restless weight. Soft haze hides the reflection of lamps. Velvet train whispers through deserted alleys. Slow whiskey catches a taste of night. Shadow cigarette flickers as he leans back. Velvet train rocks gently under distant stars. Soft haze settles on polished wood panels. Worn saddle remembers every past traveler. Slow whiskey warms while rain taps windows. Shadow cigarette smolders, releasing quiet smoke. Velvet train disappears in the industrial darkness. Soft haze clings to memories of the night. Worn saddle echoes, faint leather creaks. Slow whiskey sighs across amber liquid. Velvet train hums along empty tracks. Shadow cigarette leaves its ash behind. Soft haze mingles with the scent of coal. Velvet train slides beneath moonlit bridges. Worn saddle bends to the rhythm of rails. Slow whiskey lingers with fading warmth. Shadow cigarette dies in lonely ashtray. Velvet train fades under distant streetlights. Soft haze drips in the cold night air. Slow whiskey empties into final silence.